Good morning and welcome to this thought for the day for Monday. And today we have another of these glorious Psalms, Psalm 145, and it's quite long, so I'm just going to read the first 13 verses. I will exalt you, my God the King. I will praise your name forever and ever. Every day I will praise you and extol your name forever and ever. Great is the Lord and most worthy of praise. His greatness no one can fathom. One generation will commend your works to another. They will tell of your mighty acts. They will speak of the glorious splendour of your majesty, and I will meditate on your wonderful works. They will tell of the power of your awesome works. I will proclaim your great deeds. They will celebrate your abundant goodness and joyfully sing of your righteousness. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in love. The Lord is good to all. He has compassion on all he has made. All you have made will praise you, O Lord. Your saints will extol you. They will tell of the glory of your kingdom and speak of your might, so that men may know of your mighty acts and the glorious splendour of your kingdom. Your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is faithful to all his promises and loving towards all he has made. And so once again the psalmist speaks of his experience of God and wants everybody else to know about it. And there are two particular things that I want to notice in this psalm alongside all the wonderful attributes of God which are described by the psalmist. And the first is that the psalmist speaks of praising God's name, of speaking of the glorious splendour of God's majesty, proclaiming his great deeds. And that's one of the things that the psalmist is particularly good at, of rounding up the acts of God and putting them into memorable form so that people can grasp them and take them for themselves. And the other point is in verse 4, one generation will commend your works to another. And these two things remind us of the way in which God's word is made known, and the way in which we in our generation know of the things that happened in the generation of the psalmist and in the generations before the psalmist and in all the generations after the psalmist, is by people speaking about it and passing on the good news. And it's something which I think we're particularly bad about in our generation, of speaking up about God. We become nervous because of the political correctness of multiculturalism and of not pushing our particular point of view over and against anyone else's. But to speak about God, to speak about our experience of God, to speak about the experience of God of those around us, to speak about what God's doing in our churches, and to speak about what God has done in the past is our privilege and our responsibility. The Apostle Paul was absolutely tireless in passing on the gospel because he knew that's what God had laid upon him to do. And the disciples were given the Great Commission, telling them to go and tell other people about Jesus. And in our day, this is our responsibility. It's our responsibility to just speak up where we have the opportunity, in the corridors of life, in our work, in our school, in our social life, in our families, and particularly within our families, passing on God's news from one generation to another. It's something that the Jews laid great stress on, and it's something that we come up against in our Passover meals, if we ever get back to them, of passing on to the younger generation the news of what God has done and of what God is doing. And so at the beginning of this week, and I leave that as a thought with you, that it's been given to us to know God. It's been given to us to experience God in all his greatness and all his glory and all his goodness. And it's been given to us to pass on the news to other people that they may know him too. Have a great week. God bless you.